All right, chat. Hello. Very good afternoon. This is Pilot Nerd, and for today's training session, I have looked at something which could be quite interesting because it has a number of things for a special approach that will make it interesting, exciting, and also a little bit difficult. The airport I have selected today is Agen-La Garenne, which is in the south of France, down here. It's really not a very well-known airport, I suppose, because the runway is very short for an A320 at least. Um, but let's assume for today's exercise we have a special mission today and we fly to this airport, which doesn't really have a lot, which makes it all the more exciting. A quick look first at the METAR for down here, La Garenne, is we do have wind very strongly from the east, so we have to actually land on runway 11 because it's 7 knots, 100 degrees. Let's already make a note of that. We have visibility is very good, 10 kilometers, but we are overcast at 3,000 feet. We have a QNH of 1026, and we have 10 degrees Celsius. So that is kind of what we are looking at. Good. Then, from a charts point of view, before we go outside, let's first have a look at the airport. The runway is 2,165, but it does have displaced thresholds, so displaced thresholds from both directions. And for landing on runway 11, we're lucky. We have a little bit of a displacement, but not too much. So the threshold for, or the landing beyond the threshold is exactly 2,000 meters. So kind of Innsbruckish, I would say. The width of the runway is 30 meters, so that's not as broad as the standard 45 meters. And we would expect for runway 11 at least a poppy with an angle of 3 degrees. Okay, fine. You think, okay, that's fine. Where's the difficulty in that apart from the width of 30 meters and the 2,000 meters, which is not really an issue, but the 30 meters, that is something to take care of. And that is when you look at the arrivals, because there is no arrival actually coming from the northwest. So there is only an arrival actually for coming from the east actually. And also from an approach point of view, there is only an approach into runway 29er. So long story short, when we look at this RNP, it's and there is no other from this direction, it's quite clear that we should go for a circle to land. And the minimum for the circle to land is 1,270. Which is 1,070 above the airport actually, and since we don't have anything to arrive here, we'll do a circling approach, meaning in practice that we will use the RNP for runway 29, and then at 1,500 feet above the ground, we are going to start our circling approach to the right. There is no limit here, and then fly the circling and land that way. 1,500 feet above the ground means the runway altitude is 200 feet, so we will fly 1,700 feet. And that means we're going to glide 1,700 feet, and we'll set the minimum at 1,700 because that's our minimum in that case for the circling. Okay, 1,500 above, so we'll not use the 1,270, but we'll use 1,700 actually. Yep, that makes sense to me. Circling, how are we going to do it? So we're while we are on the RMP, we're going to configure flaps 3, landing gear down, spoilers arm, basically everything except flaps full. Then for 30 seconds, we are going to branch to the right on a course. If this is incoming 292, we go and fly 037 degrees for 30 seconds so that we are abeam the runway threshold, and then we will fly alongside the runway, abeam the runway until the threshold with our f-speed, and then for every 100 feet in altitude or height, we add 3 seconds behind the threshold, and then we will start the final approach, base, and final. And 800, since we have a puppy of 3 degrees glide slope, we'll start with 800 feet, 700, 800 feet-ish per second, the descent and go and land. And so the 100 feet, since we are 1,500 feet, that gives me 45 seconds here. So we'll time 30 seconds here and 45 seconds here, and then we go for final. And once we are either on the base or on final, we are going flaps full. The recommendation here on this chart is actually flaps full while we are on base. Right, so that's what we're going to set up. All right, then let's set this up in the simulator. We will go to LFBA, which is La Garenne, and it should set us up at runway 11. There we go. And let's go straight there. Good. Anything else we should be aware about? Yes, let's talk a little bit about the go-around. First, if we lose the visibility to the airport, we will fly the circling finish, but we will already climb up to, let's say our minimum for the go-around is 2,500 is the MSA, so I would actually go and set 2,500 as our go around, and 2,500, that is fine, 25 miles here anyway, and we would immediately just fly straight up and go to India Bravo Alpha 29er, which is the intermediate fix actually for the RMP approach, and here we would go into a hold, and that is a left turn 292 degrees. Right, so there we are. That's cool. And so let's hop onto the runway. You can see it's already getting a little bit dark. And so for the approach, I'll set the time back a little bit to 203. That's fine. There we go. 203. All right. So there we are. Let's have a look around, actually, just to get a feeling for where we are. Yeah, makes sense. Yeah. All right. I would say that is good. Then let's hop into the cockpit and prepare our aircraft for this. Good. Also, I'll prepare the overhead. There we go. So we go from Lima Foxtrot Bravo Alpha to Lima Foxtrot Bravo Alpha, and we are Walker 3465. Good. There we go. Then the overhead panel is set. That is fine. And let's give ourselves a mass imbalance that makes sense. I want to be relatively light, so let's be 58.8. That is good. And instant loading as well. So you can see the runway already here looks very, very narrow. So that will be nice. And for FSI panel, let's see where we set ourselves up. Let's say we set ourselves up at Bravo Alpha 308 and then fly to India Bravo 29er, and on a course of 022. That would be 202 actually. Inbound, that's 4.5. No, we can be yeah, let's see, 2,500. We set ourselves up here. 1 mile from it, that's 3.5 to go actually here. 2,500 is already there, and max 200 knots. Yeah, that is perfect. And then we will start the RMP approach. We'll do the turn here. Let's see, is that actually possible? Yeah, that should be possible because we start final approach 2,500 still until Foxtrot Bravo Alpha 29er, which is 4 miles. So yeah, we can actually do the turn here. It's not a flyover waypoint, so it is good. All right, then let's start FSI panel and get that working, configure that. So it should say I'm in La Garenne. Let's see if it actually does have that. And runway 11, it's detected that correctly. So let's have a look. Waypoint, I want to have a new waypoint here, and we want to be at Bravo Alpha 308. Okay, Bravo Alpha 308. Let's see, 308, search. Yep, there we go. That's it. Select this waypoint. A radial 022 and a distance. I cannot select 0, unfortunately, so I will select 1 mile. Default altitude 2,500. Compute the coordinates for that, and I also want to be 022 here. A clean waypoint. Bravo. What was it again? 308, I think. Bravo Alpha 308. Bravo Alpha 308, La Garenne. There we go. Save waypoint. Good. Then let's use that one. Validate. I want to be in a clean configuration and landing with flaps full. Good. Then we have all of that. And let's go. Move the aircraft. Am I ready with all my setup here? Yeah, looks good. Alright, move the aircraft. Should set to QNH to 1026. It does that. That is fine. Good. And so levers to climb to tent, and off we go. Yeah, one other thing I have done is I have actually switched off the ground and terrain warning system because during one rehearsal, truth be told, that the ground system told me not to sync, but I actually wanted to sync because I wanted to land. So in order not to have a warning which is not correct at this point, I have the terrain warning system off. Good, 2,500 is coming up. Altstar. Good, we are 1,800 above the ground at the moment. 1920-ish, yeah, that comes and goes. That's why the ECAM already shows the landing dialog here, or the landing checklist. Good, then we are almost ready. Then let's set the flight plan 200, 2,500, that works. RNF 29er, we want to land circling run 1, but we're going to fly the RNF 29 no star and also no VIA. That's good. Then let's insert that, and we want to fly directly India Bravo 29er, which is the beginning of the RNF 2,500, and then the final descent will start at Foxtrot Bravo Alpha 29er. Good, but here we want to fly to India Bravo Alpha 29er. We're still being held in place, so we're not flying there yet. That is great. Then we want to activate the approach phase, QNH 1026. A temperature of 10 degrees Celsius at the moment, a wind of 100 at 6. There we go. 133 is the approach, 128 the landing, clean, 201, that's fine. And we're going to set a minimum of 1,700, that is our circling altitude. Very good. Alright, then we have everything. And I release the airplane from FSI panel. There we go. And we start approach mode straight away, and we're in app nav. That is fine, and so I'll let the airplane turn itself 90 degrees. Let's already start to configure because I want to be fully configured by the time we start the circling, except only flaps 3. So we start with flaps 1, the speed is checked, and as I said, up here I have the GPWS terrain and the system, and yeah, we can have the glide slope, doesn't actually matter. We could still get the warning don't sink though, we'll see. That is an interesting exercise also for today. Good, we are now turning. We're still final blue, but we're already VDEF directly where we want to be, and things will go very quickly today, so I will circle to the right then once we reach 1700, and we have set that. Then the approach checklist, bar row reference 1026, 3 times around, seatbelts are on, minimum is bar row 1700, our circling altitude. The auto brakes, I'll set them to medium, and the fans remain on because the brakes are still a little bit hot, and the engine mode selector is norm. Approach checklist complete. Good, then let's already reduce the speed to 165 and go conf 3. Flaps 2, speed is checked. And gear down. We're almost at Foxtrot Bravo Alpha 29er, where we will start the final descent. And here we should see then final going away and becoming green. Good. Flaps 3, speed is checked. And we are seeing final app, that's great. Yeah, a little bit here. Gusty, interesting. Let's also arm the ground spoilers, but then we are now ready with our landing checklist except for the flaps, and we'll deal with them once we are on base. Good, 1900, that's great. Then let's already go manual flight. I have control. And we'll set 337 as the course we want to fly. Good, then let's already, flight directors off already, and there is the minimum. Yeah, we've gone a little bit through the minimum, so let's climb back up actually. And set the speed to managed, and set the 1700. Good. Alright then, let's go and go for course 337. And start the timer. 30 seconds. So the airport is in sight and there are no clouds, so we're really fine. Flying pretty much level, 17 seconds. Very, very nice. 25, 26, 27, yep, that's fine, let's go. And go back to a heading of 292. And that's runway heading, of course. Good, we have a little bit of wind from the left, so let's compensate for that. We are going back up a little bit to the 1700. Here is the airport, so there we go. That's fine. In that case, reset the chrono. We need it for 45 seconds before we start with base. And we're clear to land for the circling approach, runway 11. Here is the threshold, which is where we will start the timer. Good, we're at the threshold, so let's start the 45 seconds timer, and then we will turn to base. So base is actually 202. I will already set the heading then. We're 80 feet higher than we need to be, so that's also good. Descending slightly already. There we go, fine. 35 seconds.
Minimum.
Yep, I have reached the minimum again. That is fine. Good. Let's keep descending a little bit. 45. Good, let's go. And let's go for 700 feet. Vertical minus 700. Good. How are we doing here? We're doing good. Flaps full, speed is checked. Checked, stable. Good, then let's go and go on our final. Landing checklist, Eka memo, landing, no blue, landing checklist complete. We've overshot a little bit and we're also a little bit high, but that's fine, we're going to correct for that. And let's descend a little bit faster, let's do 900 until we see 2 whites and 2 reds. Wind is pretty much on runway heading. Good. Then we 2 white, 2 red. Let's go back. And again, we're still clear to land.
300. 200. 100. 50, 40, 30, 20, retard, drive.
Spoilers reverse, maximum manual braking. Forward idle, manual braking, idle. And there we go. Yeah, that was not bad at all. So here we have to the left echo. And that's what we would take. Right, very good. Very, very nice.